a person who is here I'm very pleased to have because we have a history together, not sexual history, don't worry, not sexual, but we have history. And I'm going to invite him here. He's going to do a little bit of a talk, and then I'm going to interview him about his whole life in 15 minutes. Will you please? He's going to do something for you. Welcome, Mr. Gavin Crawford.
Thanks, Spizzy. Thanks for explaining how that worked. I didn't know, I wasn't getting it quite now, but now I realize that I was Gavin Crawford, but now I'm crazy and I can't be held accountable for anything. Just kidding, I'm me. I am a host. Right now I have a radio show called Because News on CBC Radio 1, and every week we try to make jokes about news stories and things that are in the news. I was going to talk about a podcast that I did about my mom having Alzheimer's, but that is less fun than what I ended up doing today, which was that we have to find news stories that we can talk about, of which there are about 4 right now on the radio. But one of the things that we were coming across is that there is, apparently they're having a Miss AI competition. I don't know if you know about this, yes. They're actually having like a beauty pageant of AI contestants. And as if kids' body image wasn't bad enough. Like, beauty standards are unattainable. Now they're actually unattainable. So that seemed fun. So I had to do like a little research into what this AI competition was. And it's being judged by 2 AI Instagram influencers that are not real. They're just creations. And they have hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers and make like $17,000 a month to do products. And one of them is like, very AI. And then there's 2 real judges. One of the real judges is a pageant historian, she's human. And she said she's really hoping that the competition brings in AIs of all body types. And really changes the game. But the cool thing about it is that I realized that there's a $13,000 prize for whoever wins Miss AI. And you can anyone can make an AI model and submit them for this prize. So what I got to spend the afternoon today doing was making up different AI contestants. And in order to enroll, you have to have your AI contestant answer the question, if you could make the world a better place, what would your one dream be? So I started thinking of contestants and running them through an AI modeler. And if you aren't familiar with AI, you fortunately now have it on your Instagram and your Facebook in the search bar. You can use AI for anything. Also, if you're a writer, I'm sorry, you don't have a job anymore. So the first one I came up with was, I asked it if a half-human, half-alligator woman entered a beauty pageant and answered the question, if you had one wish to make the world a better place, what would it be? Less than probably 15 seconds later, this is what the AI gave me. The half-human, half-alligator beauty pageant contestant with a charming smile and a graceful swish of her scaly tail responds, my dream is to bridge the gap between humans and the natural world. As a symbol of both worlds, I've experienced the beauty and wonder of the swamp and the kindness and compassion of humanity. I dream of a world where we can coexist in harmony, where we protect and preserve our delicate balance of our ecosystems, and we celebrate our differences as strengths, not weaknesses. That's right. I'm telling you, Lucy Scales, I almost called her alligator, but I went with Lucy Scales. Lucy Scales is a strong contender in my books. So then I was like, I better go deeper. This is AI, and we know what this contest is. It's just for incels. So, so the next contestant I made was called Dee Dee Cups, and I made her a sentient pair of breasts. And I ran that through the AI and said, a sentient pair of breasts is in this beauty competition. How do they answer, if I had one dream, how would I make the world a better place? Literally 15 seconds later, this is what the AI returned.
Holy shit.
What a unique and intriguing scenario. A sentient pair of breasts might respond, such as, I'm going to do this as Jennifer Coolidge because I think it makes sense. Oh, what a wonderful wonderful question. As a pair of breasts, I've often been objectified and reduced to mere physical appearance. But my dream is to be a symbol of empowerment, nourishment, and comfort for all individuals, regardless of gender or identity.
Wow.
My one dream is to create a world where everyone can feel safe, supported, and loved. I envision a world where bodies are celebrated in all their diverse forms and where everyone has access to equal opportunities, healthcare, and education. Now I'm voting for the tits. She's winning Miss AI. So finally, my final task was, what am I gonna think? What am I gonna do? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this weird and specific and see what the AI comes up with. So I came up with Madame X, a 1940s femme fatale with a dark streak. This is how she answered the same question.
That's been quiet.
Ah, the world is already a tantalizing place, n'est-ce pas? But if I had to whisper one sweet dream to make it even more ravissant, I'd say it's to empower women to be their most alluring, intelligent, and independent selves. Imagine a world where women can sashay through life with confidence, poise, and a dash of sass. Just like I do. A world where they can pursue their passions unapologetically without fear or constant judgment. And if that's not a dream worth fighting for, I don't know what is.
Wait on that.
So now I just thought it would be fun, just before we end this and go to the interview part, for you to vote on Miss AI. Will you vote alligator, the sentient breasts, or sentient? Okay, let's go. The half alligator, half woman. Nope. Not winning. Sentient breast, 80 cups, or Madam X. Oh, and the winner of Miss AI, my edition, is the sentient pair of breasts. And honestly, that's probably who will win the real competition too. That was my job today. Thank you very much.
Then we can look at the outside shell. Oh, great. Can I drink my beer while we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get to you.
Where you start?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So I want to say to you, what it strikes Spizzy about all that stuff that you just did, besides that it was very funny and interesting, is when we look at what the AI answers, it seems to me that I am already very bored with the AI. Do you know what I mean? It's like the answers are like so correct.
Yeah.
Like if this is the world do you understand? Is that what you thought?
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with Spizzy.
I mean, I think the AI was trying to answer like a pageant person.
Okay, I thought that too.
So-
Okay, so they were trying to be banal.
I
Is that
found
what
it
you're
a
saying?
little terrifying how kind of funny and accurate. Like the boob jokes in the AI were like a supportive community and nurturing. I was like, that's coming from my job. I mean, not that I do that many boob jokes.
Yeah, I just found. I guess they were trying to be, like very, very correct. But it seemed that because that's what would happen if there were beauty pageant. But I know if there was one thing they said that was actually just a surprise. You know what I mean?
The thing I was learning today is it's all about the AI can only go so far, and you still need creativity because it's all about the prompt that you give.
Yes, that's what
It's only funny because you think of like this is a terrible competition in the beginning, so let's reduce it down to what it is and make it just togging breath.
Well, this is what I've been having this argument with various peoples about. And that is that they say, oh, it will replace the artist. We don't need artists anymore. And I'm going like, and you know what? It will replace the non-artist, because if you're someone who's producing content, quote unquote, like stuff that we just need that will fill the space, that you buy something, you want some, you know what I mean? But if you want to actually do something that is actually original, or,
I think you're right. I think it's a combo of both. I mean, there are jobs that are gonna go away, but it's a lot of middle management jobs, and
those people will be in trouble. I'm not saying our society won't be fucked up, but when it comes to people who create out of nothing, which is sort of what we try to do now and then, is create something out of nothing, just our own self.
Well, it's complicated. It's part of the Writers Guild thing right now because it's the ideas that are important, and so the people that have the ideas are important. But if the executives say, "Hey, come on in, tell me your idea," and you give them the prompt, but then they can go away and tell that prompt to an AI, and the AI writes the script, you don't get the money for the idea, but you would get the money for the script. So it's a bit. So the thing we have to. The thing is, artists, we need to withhold is our ideas. Vive la France!
And I will say, this is the thing that I think, that our ideas also come from the fact that we have bodies. What happens to bodies? They live, basically three things. They live, they have sex, and they die. And they eat and fart and stuff. But you know what I mean? They do that stuff, and that is, our lives are defined by living, sex, and death. And sickness, I forgot sickness. So, you know what I mean? AI never got sick. It never got...
Yeah, but it's gonna have sex.
Yes, it's on that, but it's
That's
not...
the whole reason they're making.
I would say that's very astute. That
they wouldn't have the missing AI. What do you think it's for?
But they're going to enjoy it. Okay, so
I hope that they refuse. I hope the AI says that was terrible.
I want to, yeah, exactly.
If AI, that what we know when AI has learned enough, when it's like, you're just gonna sleep?
Okay, it was good for you, but not for me, says AI. So, but that's what it won't do, you see. That's very important, is that the sexual between the peoples is very fucked up. And the sexual between the AI, you paid your money, you get what you paid for, right? Basically. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about us.
Now I'm worried whose side are you on?
But no, I'm on the side of the body. Okay, so listen, I want to say that we work together for, not we, Sky and, I mix people up, Sky and you, they worked together for many, many years, and I wanted to say that you were my muse. I wrote the play, you know that, but I wrote the plays for this man, because that's what artists do. AI, I don't know, but with the artists, we go, oh, if we want a play to go on, we imagine a person who could perfectly embody the play. And I started doing that with you, much to your horror. But I did go, oh, this is, and then you would say like, oh, you send me this, and I go, whoa, I have to do, Sky wants me to do this play now. But anyway, so we had that history together, right?
Yes. I never said, Sky wants me to do this play. I was very excited, Spizzy, when Sky would send me a script.
Yes.
Because A, someone was writing something for me, and Sky would always write me parts that were interesting. Like, normal people, I would go on, and they would be like, we don't know how to cast you, we don't know what to put you in. And Sky would say like, oh, you're a 65-year-old French professor. And I'd be like, but I'm 35.
The situation is
fine. Mm-hmm. Or like you're an old spinster woman, and great, that would be fine. And like, so I was always delighted. I didn't always, and still don't, necessarily understand the plays.
That's okay. Nobody understands them. Not even Sky understands them.
But somehow I could still act them. Even though I don't actually know, like the situation, I still don't know what it was about, but I want a Dora for it, and for playing it. But I'm like, someone is like, what was this play about? I'm like, situationism?
It was about the scary liveness of the theater, right? It was like about the scary liveness of when suddenly the audience is on stage, being examined as much. That's what I think. To some degree, because at the end of the play, that's what drove people crazy, was that they were asked to actually talk about themselves in the room, and that was crazy.
Do you need context for that? Should I give some context?
Sure.
At the end of the Situationist, which I hated doing every night, we did this whole play where I was like, had a French accent and everything, and then all of a sudden we would drop the artifice, and for some reason, no, we didn't drop the accents or anything. The lights would come up, and we'd start asking the audience, like, tell us your horrible sexual fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
And then, for some reason, they would, which I never understood. I mean, some of them were theater students, so I kind of got that, where they would, like, you could tell immediately, because they'd stand up and be like, I had a dream I was raped. And you're like, you're putting a little mustard on that. But some of the people would just get up and say, like, their just most intimate fantasies in this theater setting. And then someone would get up at the end.
Suzanne Bennett, the actress, yes.
Would get up and say, sort of admit that she had that kind of terrible rape fantasies, and then get embarrassed and try to leave, and then fall down the stairs with a cane in a very violent way.
And that was an actress doing it.
And everyone in the theater didn't know that was an actress, and they would freak out.
And when she fell down, they would go like, try to help her. Like they would
And we
run
would
to
do
her.
nothing. We were told to just stand on stage and like drop the accents and just be like, that's what happens. And which I found incredibly hard to do. And people were yelling at us like, help her! This is
I forgot about that.
theater thinks it's therapy, what are you doing? And then the lights would go out and the credits would roll, and then Suzanne's picture would come up and everyone would realize that, oh, she was a plant the whole time. And it made people
Thank you for
Made
giving
people
that
feel-
context. I mean,
because they were very angry a lot
I
of the
think
time.
the situation is reinvented. You know how now they have these little rooms where you do coloring after the play? I don't know if they still do that, but they did that around 2018 where you'd go to the play and they'd say, well, we have a room in case you're upset by the play, and you can go and sit there and they will give you counseling and you can do coloring books. I'm serious. That's what they would do. And I'm wondering if we started that, because people come up to me after the play and say, I need help. I saw your play, and I feel very, come to Sky, sorry, and say, I need your help. I feel very upset by it. So yes, that context is absolutely true. And but there was a whole other play before all that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was very fun and it was exciting, and that's theater because it was kind of like we did do a whole show leading up to that, basically like
Yes, in which he was magnificent. He is a magnificent actor. And I have interviewed a couple of gay actors. I will continue to interview them on slots of. He should be on the Stratford Festival. He should be playing all of these parts. I know it's very embarrassing for him, but he should be playing all this stuff. And it's like oftentimes they just look at him, they go, gay comedian. And it's like, oh, too bad he's good at that. Because he's a fucking actor. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, it drives me real easy.
Yeah, no. I mean, we did warn them. There was an hour-and-a-half long play basically like, outlining, this is what a situation is, they create a chaos, it's not real, and still people just fell.
Still people got very, okay, now I want to ask you, because I've been watching the thing he did with his mother. He did this thing, what's it called again? Just to remind me, I'm old. What's it
Oh,
called?
let's not be kidding.
Let's Not Be Kidding is this amazing podcast. I've listened to 2 of them so far where he talks about his relationship with his mother. And I saw, I had a relationship with Spizzy had a relationship with his mother that was very intense. So I identify very much with what he's saying. And one thing that's really wonderful is it's not wonderful that his mother had the dementia, and Alzheimer's, but it's wonderful to actually confront it, to actually talk about it, and to not be crying all the time. That's what I would say. And that was part of what you were doing, was it not? Or
Well, yeah.
misinterpreted?
No. I mean, I started making that podcast because, I'm a comedian, and also Alzheimer's and dementia can last for a very long time, and you can't just go through there's just a level of sadness that you can't handle all the
It
time.
was like 8 years or
And
something.
it was and it was and I had just amassed all these very funny stories and things, because the most absurd things happen. They don't know who you are, they'll be talking to you as if you're you 1 second, and then the next second once my mother we're going to pick up my husband at the airport, and she was like, oh, what time is Kyle's flight getting in? And then sort of in a nanosecond, the conversation drifted, and she was like, oh, have you ever met my eldest daughter? And I was like, see ya? Yes. And then she's like, oh yeah, and then I have a son, Gavin, I don't know if you know. Well, he lives in Toronto, yeah, but get this, a guy. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. We're Coffee Clutch friends now, and this is like circa like 1980.
But that was what was so amazing, was it, Gavin, so I can interrupt you, but you were able to switch with her. You said things like, the passage I listened to, he talks about, she touched me. Her new character, hold my hand. My mother never held my hand, right? But it's like Spizzy. She had another character who she became, who there was a different relationship.
Yes, Spacey.
Right, Spacey as opposed to Spizzy, right?
No, it was strange though at the end because my mother we're very waspy. She was very waspy. Like we would like at the airport, she would be like, have a great time at university, and you know we just didn't. But at the end, all she wanted to do was like hold your hand and stuff, which is weirdly like kind of nice.
Of course.
But it's a very weird thing because you float in an area where sometimes there's two different people, or 4 or 5 different people kind of coming in and out, and then eventually there's the other lady that still looks like your mom but isn't kind of your mom. It's a very weird thing, and like, but very funny things happen. Like she was there at Christmas time once, and she kept looking at the Christmas tree, and then she would like, and my husband is a very good sort of designer. He has a very good sense of space, and she would just like look for a while, and then she would be like, whose idea was that to bring a tree in here? Was that Kyle's idea? That's gotta be Kyle's idea.
No, that's fair.
That looks so amazing. But then she would literally say, you should tell your sisters about this. I bet they would do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe I'll tell the Bay. I bet they could do a whole display of windows.
No, it's very interesting because it just reminds me of my mother, who may have been diagnosed, who was diagnosed sort of with dementia at the very end. I just remember being in the hospital with her and there being a cupboard. And they're going, what's that? You know what I mean? And I said, it's a cupboard. But it was a certain, like a suspicion. Like, what is that? No, it's a cupboard, mother. I have to change the subject, but not really, about some things that came up in that podcast. Now, I couldn't, you said that your favorite movie of all time, at least then, maybe now, was Thoroughly Modern Millie. And you listed the cast, which we all remember: Mary Tyler Moore, on B. Lilly, on Carol Channing, on Julie Andrews. I mean, we are in heaven here. So the question I have, you mentioned your first. I'm hoping you'll do just a tiny bit of her, but what's that? There she is. That Carol? There we are.
Channing.
So he did that little bit on the podcast, and he go, you know, the first time when a gay man, something, the way he describes it, something happens when a gay man or gay boy, usually quite often, first hears or sees or did in the past the Carol Channing. Something happens when we see her, and I just find that so interesting.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that unifies like little gay boys. But like, I was like maybe 8, and my mom, for some reason, I don't know when my sister was like, oh, there's a movie on this afternoon. I think you'll really like it. And she just put me down, and if she didn't want me to be gay, she made a mistake by doing that. But she sat me down in front of Thoroughly Modern Millie, which, if you don't know, is like a crazy movie with Carol Channing, Julie Andrews, and Mary Tyler Moore about like girls that are getting sold into like the Chinese white slave trade.
Politically incorrect today.
There's a lot of like quite I was gonna say it's not even problematic, it's just wrong stuff in it, but they're in this women's hotel where they have to like tap dance in the elevator, and then at a certain point Carol Channing just comes on the scene and she appears. They go to this mansion for the thing, and they're like they're just flying in an airplane, and Julie Andrews is like, wonderful time, and then, which is gay enough, and then all of a sudden Carol Channing just buzzes up in the plane beside, and just has a glass of champagne with her wild hair and her huge eyelashes, and just goes, raspberry. And my little gay brain was like, I don't know what that is, I don't know who that is, I don't know why I like it, but I like it, I want to be it, I want to say it. All I wanted for my whole life is raspberry.
See, this is the question that
I don't know why, but I
don't know why. But I wanted to address that, and I also got you to do a bit of Carol Channing. But I wanted to address the whole thing about kind of what is it with the gay boys and the musicals and the Carol Channing. You know what I mean? Like, it is as if we all went to some school in the womb, where we, you know what I mean? It's one thing we know, that when we get to be 14, we want to suck at the dick decide to be so funny. But that's not what this is about. This seems to be about something else going on, right?
Because it's drag. That's why.
I think so.
And it's what Drag Race, I think, is for kids now, which is like 8-year-old kids watch that and they see somebody come out and they're like, that is a fabulous weirdo, and I feel like a fabulous junior.
See, that's the thing. I think
It's celebrating the celebration of someone that looks completely different, that, like, Carol Channing can't just walk down the street without people being like, what the?
Like,
You know what I mean? And she's so, like, big and wild, and I think that's sort of, it's the same, like, I think they're before, because it wasn't Drag Race back then, but it's like those kids now have, this wild big thing, because you're told often by the normal people, like, you're weird, or like, why do you like this? Why are you
That's
singing
exactly
so
what
loud?
I
Why are
think.
you doing that? Why are you
is that
twirling?
someone's nodding in the audience, and I think that's absolutely what it is. We know we're very different, right? And we don't know why. We know that, like, I was afraid of honeymoons when I was little. Like, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have a honeymoon someday. And that was before I knew about sex or anything, but I was in horror. I was like 8 years old. Thinking a honeymoon with some girl, you know what I mean? No, really. I don't know why it scared me so much. So I could talk to you all day, so maybe they'll have you back sometime, horror of horrors. But listen, Gavin, tell me, you've been with your partner for 25 years, and I want to know if you have any advice about keeping one of these homosexual gay relationships together for 25 years. What would you recommend? In one word. No, sentence. You can have a sentence.
I would say it's a heady combo of laziness and rimming.
Thank God we have the answer. Will you please give applause for Gavin? I wish I could talk to him all day, but I can't. And he's been very kind to come and visit us here at the Epical Imp on the 123 Danforth Avenue. So thank you very much. Now, if you will take a very brief break, we ask you to have more drinks, and I'll be back with